don't flex. I roll deep, don't sleep, we next. All good wrecks, got checks on checks. These parties rated XXX.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Dan Jack here, and we're back with episode 2 of Minecraft Skylines. So in this episode, we are going to be working on our first apartment building, and it's not huge. I'm kind of wanting to start a little bit small on this series, just so I can kind of get the hang of things and, you know, get a process down that works. But it's going to be bigger than the other one, and it was definitely a lot more work than the other one. But it was pretty repetitive in some places, so I skipped a lot of it so that you guys didn't have to deal with that. But I think it turned out okay. I'm happy with it, so it'll be alright. But so this first part we're working on here is going to be the entrance to the building, and you're going to enter into the lobby like most apartment buildings would be. So I was trying to figure out a way to give this kind of a fancy sort of feel, because I did want it to be nice apartments, because it's going to be right in the middle of downtown. I wanted them to look nice, so I was trying to figure out a way to make it kind of look fancy, which I struggled with for a little bit, but I think the end product looks pretty good. So we're just trying to detail out the front here and put some windows. I wanted the big windows on there because I thought it would kind of help make it look a little bit open. And it did. I like it with the little archways of the acacia wood logs there too. So really a lot of the time in this was just filling in the stone, because that's a lot of blocks to place. But it was okay, just tedious. So I wanted to fill this up to see the scale next to this other building, because I have like a lot of the buildings planned out already, like where they're gonna be and what they're gonna be and all that sort of stuff, but I haven't really seen them next to each other in full scale. So I just kind of wanted to see how that was gonna look. And for this, I was just testing out what would it look like if I took those all the way up, which I really liked. So I kept it, but I also had to keep in mind that there are going to be windows there. But that's the other thing with this building too that was a little bit complicated, is the windows had to be placed based on the inside, not on the outside. So it was a little bit different. The windows aren't perfectly symmetrical, which is fine, because to me that's more realistic, but it was I couldn't finish the outside until I finished the inside, was basically the problem. So it worked out okay. I figured it out in the end, but it was kind of a struggle. So these other sides are basically the same, but instead of the doorway, obviously there's not going to be a door there, but it's just a little bit different. There's like a little different detail in that spot instead, but for the most part it's the same. So this is the last side that you guys will see me do, because the other ones are the same, so it's not entertaining or anything. But I basically just kind of tried to put as much depth into this as possible, because that's what most detail is in this game, is just depth. So I ended up really liking how that worked, just using stairs and kind of pulling out the corners of the building a little bit to give it some depth to it, and I ended up really liking how that looked. So we just brought these guys all the way up on all of the corners, and I like it because it makes it look kind of strong and sturdy, like it gives it that, you know, the strong sense to it. So now we're going to move on to the inside. And this bottom spot was going to be the lobby, but I wanted the lobby to be fairly tall, and I wanted it to look fancy, because obviously if you're walking into an apartment complex and you're like looking to find an apartment to live in or whatever, you want it to look nice when you walk in. And so I was kind of keeping that in mind while doing this, and I decided on going with the polished granite and the polished andesite floor, which I don't love when it's completely open like it is after I finish this here. You'll see I'll kind of pause when I'm up there, but I don't love it when it's that open, but in small sections I think it looks good, and it looks like a nice tile floor. So That's what we ended up going with, because a lot of it's going to be covered up anyway. So this corner is behind that other building, and so I definitely didn't want any rooms right there because you wouldn't be able to put any windows. So I decided that that's where the stairwell was going to be. So I just kind of blocked that off to know what space I had to work with the lobby. So then I moved on to the desk, which I've never lived in an apartment before, so I don't know exactly how all of it works, especially an apartment in a big city. So I don't know really exactly what everything looks like or whatever, but I just kind of put a nice desk in there with some carpet underneath it and hid the lighting underneath the carpet, which I do for most of this lobby. That's how it's going to be lit. But I wanted this little lounge area to be raised up. I tried it with the granite and the andesite, and I didn't like it, so I ended up using wool, or I guess it's carpet if you're thinking in creative terms. But I put a couple little tables here and added some light underneath there too. And so back in this corner, I wanted something that kind of made it look a little nicer than just being tile floor and a little lounge. So I decided to put a fountain. I struggled with this top a lot because quartz is kind of strange looking underwater, but I decided that's what I wanted to go with because it is kind of the fancy looking block in the game. So it turned out okay. I'm not in love with it, but it'll work. That's going to be a lot of things in this city because it's going to be so big that those little things, I mean, they matter, but at the same time, you know, it's going to be kind of a quick glance and move on. So the fountain's okay, but it's not great. So these little planter things with the cauldron and the leaves on top, I really like them just because they kind of add some color. It's a little color pop in there, and you can put them wherever you want. So I use those a lot for light, to put the sea lanterns underneath them. So now we're working on the staircase, and I really struggled with it at first, but I decided to just go the simple route and just go up by a half and everything and have a platform in each corner, which works out nice because I think that's more realistic for like a square staircase. That's how it would be. So I mean, I really like it. I'm happy with how it turned out. And so we just go down and place some iron bars where you could potentially fall out if this was a real world, and it ends up kind of looking cool from the lobby as well. So we're just adding light on the post and the inside of the staircase, and then we get up here to the first floor, and this is where the first buildings are going to be. And I wanted to kind of lay out a floor plan before I really dove into building walls or building floors or whatever, because I wanted to know what I was doing. So the dark gray carpet is a hallway, the white carpet is a room, the light blue is a bathroom, and the black is just going to be empty space. And I wanted a bathroom on every floor because that seems realistic. And I kind of, like when I furnished them, it was a little small. I wish I had made it a little bit bigger, but it worked, so we're going to keep it just like that. And this actually worked out really, really well, which I'm happy with because I didn't really measure anything before I built. And so most of the rooms are 4x8. There are 2 of them that are 4x7, and there's only one room that is not able to have a window, which is unfortunate, but especially because it's also a 4x7 instead of a 4x8. But it'll work, you know, just pretend, oh, that one's cheaper, and it's still in the same apartment complex, so it worked out okay. So all of the floors are the exact same thing. Just did this, put carpet, and built the walls up. So we're going to skip most of the floors too, because I had to do this like 7 more times. So there's, I made all the windows on the floors, and I also put the cauldron and leaves in there for light. I skipped a lot, but it really wasn't interesting, so we're just trying to add a little bit of depth on the outside, because like I said, that's what we're going to try to do, especially for this building a lot, is make our detail by depth, and those stairs on the window really help with that. So I just did that on every side, and it also makes the window itself look like it's sunken into the wall as opposed to just sitting on the outside. But the insides, it's not furnished yet. I'll show you kind of how I did one room, and then I have a picture of what most of them looked like. But no two rooms look the exact same, which I wanted to make sure that was the case, because if you go into an apartment complex and you walk into the different rooms, nobody's going to have them furnished the same way. The bed's not going to be necessarily in the same place, especially if it's just one room. The bed's not going to be in the same place. You know, your closet or your chest in this case isn't going to be in the same place. So, and we just decided to use just basic stuff that you'd need in Minecraft, like a bed, crafting table, furnace, chest, and an armor stand, I believe is all we used. But it ends up looking okay because the rooms aren't super big, but they're not tiny as far as what you'd think of a Minecraft apartment being. But they're not big enough to like justify having a bunch of other stuff in there. So this roof, I wanted it to not be flat, but I didn't want it to be anything ridiculous. So I just decided to do the logs across and then just do half quart slabs on the inside of those, which looks okay. And I know I mentioned in the last episode about putting things on the roof to make it feel alive, which I do want to do in a lot of cases. But at the same time, for a roof like this, an apartment complex, most things are going to be on the inside of the building instead, so you don't really need a whole lot of stuff on the outside. So for some buildings, it's okay to just leave it leave it empty on the roof. So this is how we furnish the buildings, or the apartments. It's very simple. Just throw that stuff down, throw in a few paintings, and call it good. Which I originally put in a lever there, but realized I needed a button. So this is the view of the lobby, and then we have one of the rooms, which all of them look basically the same. And then there's the bathroom with the toilet and the sink there, and then this is the final product of the whole building from the outside. That's going to do it for this episode of Minecraft Skylines, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, please leave a like or a comment below and tell me, or subscribe, or whatever you want to do is fine. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.